it's a little different than what you think it might be. Sometimes people are like, well, they ditched it because of traffic or because of the commute. And what we're really finding is that they ditched it for different reasons. One of the most popular ones that we saw was that they really wanted their children, if they had children, to learn real skills, not just to be on technology and being driven from event to event and from sporting practice to another sporting practice, but they said, you know what, we want our children to learn real skills. That was one of the reasons we saw in the article people are leaving cities for rural America. Of course, also following their passions, their values, wanting to live near family, not so much of a surprise there that people wanted to be closer to family. What we also saw, though, was that people really wanted to have access to nature, that as much as they enjoyed living in cities, what they found was that their favorite activities included nature, and being able to ditch cities for rural America as a freelancer. Not everybody has that opportunity, but as a freelancer, you can do it and be able to teach your children real skills, be close to nature, follow your passions, and be near family. And it's a trend that we're starting to see more and more, a trend really that is due to technology. We didn't have this opportunity before. I was having a very interesting conversation with someone last week, and they were talking about, again, the younger generation, millennials, saying they're so entitled, and, you know, they change jobs every 3 years. What's up with them? Why can't they stay in a steady line? And what I said was, who knows what would have happened 20 years ago if the technology was there? But the technology was not there to be so mobile. The technology was not there to be able to work on the side. You actually had to go in and work in a company, and maybe you had a computer that was maybe the size of your desk at that point. And because there is this technology now, this younger generation is not necessarily entitled. They're just taking advantage. And who's to say that boomers, that generation born between 46 and 64, wouldn't have done the same thing? They just didn't have the opportunity. So because of this opportunity that is showing itself with technology, we are seeing that freelancers, those who work for themselves, which in the U.S. is almost 40% of our workforce, is saying, you know what, I can make other choices. I can ditch cities, and I can go for rural America.
Hi. Well, I'm from the UK, and I would ditch the city or London, or leave London for kind of countryside area like Hereford, Kent, and other places like that, because one, it will be cheaper. The flats will be cheaper. Two, it'll be a lot less pollution. And three, the food will probably be nicer there as well, because you will probably find a lot more market stalls and things like that. Because if you go into Hereford, not Herefordshire, Herefordshire, but Hereford, you will find market stalls where you can buy hot food, which is quite nice. So that is why I will ditch the city or move away from London as soon as I get the chance to do so. So yeah, yeah, that's why I will do it.
Very interesting about ditching the city. As a blind person, I find the exact opposite is true for me. I almost need the city just because it's possible to get around in the city. It's possible to use public transportation and the like to get to places that I need to go, whereas rural areas are almost impossible to get around very well because they're so spread out.
Hello, I have to agree with the last guy who posted. I find that living in the city is much more freeing for myself as a blind person. Living in the country, and I recognize that this may not be true for everybody. I know certain blind people that love living in the country. But speaking for myself and my personality type, living in the country is kind of like living in a prison. I grew up in the country, and though I love my parents and I love the fact that they, as very metropolitan people, chose to raise their children in the country in an environment that was perhaps a little bit more peaceful and a little bit more relaxed than the one in which they lived in their young adulthood. I found that growing up for me, living in the country, did not allow me to really access the full range of development when it came to my personality and socialization in the way that living in the city would have, and ultimately has for me as an adult, having lived in a number of different cities. So I recognize that this is a trend that a lot of millennials and younger people love, and I hope that they find that it gives them what they wish. But for me, living in a city is the only way that I feel I can have the freedom that I so desperately need.